I the asshole for making the neighbor's kid fail his exam? Disclaimer, this is not my story. I, 26 female, live in a condo-style complex. A lot of people have suffered due to a global event, and people in this condo have gone out of their way to help those less fortunate, myself included. My neighbor and her husband both had their income reduced. She was laid off and he got reduced hours. When they asked to borrow my Wi-Fi password, I also gave them all my online streaming passwords to be kind, as she wouldn't be doing much else besides looking for a new job and doing some housework. That was over 2 years ago. I don't interact with them or other neighbors in a day-to-day as I work a lot and I'm a private person. Last Thursday, when I tried to log on, I saw that attempts have been made to change my streaming and Wi-Fi password, and I spent hours on customer service line trying to get it fixed. The system locks you out after 3 attempts of changing a password. When it detects you are not the admin of your account, I got new ones. Saturday morning, I was woken up by what I thought was someone kicking my door in. Am I the asshole for making the neighbor's kid fail his exam? Disclaimer, this is not my story. Saturday morning, I was woken up by what I thought was someone kicking my door in. With a bat in my hand, I checked through the spy hole and it was my neighbor and her husband. They were angry that I had kicked them off their network. Their son was taking an online exam, but the school informed them that I wasn't registered, as while he was doing the exam, I had changed the password and he didn't notice. He got an incomplete grade and has to redo these 3 months and another exam in the summer. I told him I was unaware that they were on my network still, as she has gotten a part-time job. Therefore, I didn't feel the need to check with them to make changes to my account after a hacking attempt. To this, her husband said they tried to change the password. They said I'm away 5 to 6 days a week working, and his wife wanted to give online streaming passwords to our new coworkers, and there can only be 2 guests on my account. They wanted them to have it so they could discuss their favorite shows. They expect me to pay for the exam their son has to retake and summer schooling. So am I the asshole?
Am I the asshole for telling my sister to stop taking showers with her husband in my house? My female 32 sister 28 and her husband 32 male moved in with us 2 days ago. They lost their apartment to medical debts for their child, and my husband and I are more than happy to have them stay for a few weeks. However, yesterday at 7 p.m., I was in the kitchen when my husband rushed in and said he saw both my sister and her husband walk out of the bathroom. So they'd most likely taken a shower together. My husband said that it irked him, and I agreed what they did was somewhat inappropriate. He asked me to talk to my sister about it, and I did. She got defensive, asking how this is affecting me or my husband. Am I the asshole for telling my sister to stop taking showers with her husband in my house? I told her it made my husband feel uncomfortable and would rather they just shower separately. She ranted about being overwhelmed by their son's health problems and not having time together alone. They found this activity as bonding time to spend together. I apologized but still requested that she just do as asked. She got mad and said I was being inconsiderate and said she didn't understand my husband's hang-up on what her and her husband do. We argued and she stormed off to the guest room. She's not speaking to me, but my husband said I did the right thing by speaking to her and setting this boundary. So are me and my husband overreacting to this?
Am I the asshole for telling my husband I don't care what his preferences are? Disclaimer, this is not my story. I, 22 female, don't shave anything but my face. My husband, 23 male, also shaves nothing but his face. I don't shave mostly because I don't think I should have to. If my husband only has to shave one part of his body, then so do I. But it's also just such a hassle. It takes time in an already long shower. I have very long, very curly hair, and I don't want to do it. I used to shave very early into our relationship, but as we got comfortable in our domestic life, I was able to sit back and take a look at what's important to me. Shaving is just not something important for me to do. The other day, out of nowhere, while we were watching TV, my husband asked me why I don't shave. I really thought this would be a one-day type of thing, so I just said that I didn't think I'd have to. He asked me this before, and I always gave him the same answer. It's not that I never shave. I'll shave occasionally during the summer when I don't want to deal with his friends asking me about it. I also trim my bikini line as well, but I was confident around my husband. When it was just the 2 of us, I felt comfortable going to the beach without shaving. Anyways, our conversation continued. We had a lot of back and forth, mostly consisting of the same thing in different wording, but I think his true intentions came out after a while. He told me he prefers shaven legs and that it's unattractive when women's legs aren't shaved. That totally broke me down. I felt ugly and gross, but also very angry. Out of a very emotional response, I told him that I don't care about his preferences for my body. I also said that I have preferences for his beard or his hair, but I wouldn't be upset if he decided to go against that preference. I told him it's fine to have preferences for my body, but to keep those preferences to himself because I don't want to hear them. He got really angry and yelled at me, asking why he can't voice an opinion, but I think that some opinions need to be kept out of view. He apologized at the end, but I feel like such an asshole. He came to me crying because he felt so bad because he hurt my feelings. So am I the asshole? Am I the asshole for telling my child's mother I can parent however I want and my girlfriend can get whatever tattoo she wants? Disclaimer, this is not my story. I, 35 male, have an 11-year-old daughter with my ex-wife, Carrie, 36 female. Me and Carrie met senior year of high school, dated throughout college, and had our daughter whenever she was in law school. At the beginning, it was great, but after Carrie joined a firm, everything went to shit. I accepted her job would require long hours, but it just got worse. I was doing almost all the baby work. She would just come home late, eat, watch some TV, and go to bed. She wouldn't show me any affection most nights. I felt like a live-in nanny, and I was working full-time too. I tried communicating only to get lawyer talk back. All we could talk about was her work and the baby, nothing about us or my job or my life. I filed for divorce 4 years ago. Carrie went off about it whenever I informed her. She wanted to try therapy, something that I had suggested for years. She was mostly upset about losing her childcare arrangement and personal chef. I've been dating Lauren, 28 female, for 2.5 years. She and my daughter are very close. Lauren has a couple of tattoos and wants to get one of me and my daughter on her arm sleeve. We've been talking about marriage and she is free to do whatever she wants with her body. I asked my daughter if she was okay with it and she loved the idea. Lauren and her are working on the design together and it's bonding them more. My ex-wife found out and was very mad. She had an issue with how I'm raising my daughter and how my girlfriend is promoting tattoos. She also said I don't care about my daughter because I don't help her study, which isn't true. We do her homework quickly so we can hang out and enjoy life, not shove our faces in books. Her grades are still great, just not all A's. I told Carrie she's free to raise our daughter however she wants to at her place. But our house is about being a family and not being a cold robot. Maybe she should look in the mirror and ask our daughter why she likes her stepmom so much. I'm not going to turn our daughter cold and Lauren can get whatever tattoo she wants. She called me an asshole and threatened to contact my attorney. Am I the asshole for reporting my friend to CPS? Disclaimer, this is not my story. I, 33 female, have been close friends with Kate, 34 female, for 15 years since our children were babies. She has Joe, 15 male, and I have Sue, 15 female. She has no other children, but I have a total of 5 kids, all much younger than Sue. When Kate and I first met, we were both working for minimum wage and struggling to raise our babies alone. It was really hard for the both of us. Our children are very close friends, pretty much viewing each other as siblings. Kate and I were roommates for 6 years and that ended on good terms when I moved in with my now husband. We talk almost every day and she kept telling me over the last few months that she was really depressed. I have been as supportive as I could, but I'm raising 5 children and don't always have time to be as present as she needs. Last week I offered for Joe to come stay with us during fall break so Kate could focus on self-care and so he and Sue could spend time together. Joe showed up absolutely filthy. He smelled like he hadn't showered in months and his clothes had animal pee on them. I gently told him he needed to shower and asked him what was going on and he said he forgets to shower and that they haven't had a working washer in a long time and that their cat pees on things. Over the course of the week he told me that his mom does nothing but smoke and cry. He said she never makes him meals and that he just lives on whatever he eats at school or gets out of the pantry. And that sometimes when there's no food, he steals her credit card when she's asleep and walks to the corner store and gets himself candy for dinner. I talked to Kate and she said she was doing her best and asked me if I can help clean her house. I told her I can't because of my kids. She then asked me for money for a housekeeper or a new washer. I said no. She then asked me if I would take custody of Joe because she's too depressed to care for him. I again told her I have 5 kids and my husband would not agree to that. I decided to call CPS and told them everything. They told her she has 10 days to clean her home, comply with mental health therapy, buy groceries, and get Joe into counseling or he will be placed in foster care. She said that I should have actually helped her instead of reporting her. So am I the asshole?
Am I the asshole for missing my father-in-law's funeral after mother-in-law booked my husband first class but me economy? Me and my mother-in-law don't have a close relationship. She's civil towards me but can be a bit passive-aggressive at times. We live in a different state and recently father-in-law passed away suddenly. For the funeral, she booked our tickets to fly to her state. The issue started when my husband told me that we couldn't sit together in the plane because his mom booked him a first-class ticket, and me an economy. I was flabbergasted. I asked why, but he urged me to suck it up and we'll talk about it later. In that moment, I felt so much humiliation and contempt. I felt she was treating me less than and decided not to go and just go back home. Am I the asshole for missing my father-in-law's funeral after my mother-in-law booked my husband first class but me economy? My husband was shocked by my decision to go home and tried to convince me to go, but I declined. He went alone and I ended up missing the funeral. He was livid, calling me and texting me nasty things, calling me petty and spoiled. He said I should be grateful his mom paid for my ticket to begin with because she doesn't owe me a goddamn thing. I argued that she could have booked us both in economy if money was an issue, but he called me pathetic for thinking about it when his dad just died. He said what I did was so cruel and his mom and family will never forget that I missed the funeral over ridiculous reasons. Am I wrong?